Hello, everyone. Hey, RAKStars. Welcome once again to another Hands with RAKStars session. Thanks for joining and sharing with us today, and happy Thanksgiving to you all. For those joining for the first time over this Hands with RAKStars session, this is just a community space where we share with RAK team members or either community members to talk about the IoT ecosystems, LoRa and LoRaWAN related projects, experiences, and anything you would like to talk about. This is just an open space that RAK Wireless have created for our RAKStar community to just connect and learn. By the way, this is Maria Hernandez over here, and I will be hosting this session next to my colleague Johan Macias. Johan, how are you doing today?
Hey Maria, I'm doing great. Happy to be here one more time with our RAKStars. Last week we resumed this show with the mesh tested guys, and it's great to know we are back on our recurring basics. So, what do we have for today's session?
Well, today we have two amazing guys. One of these guy who there's a guy who joined us in the past, and it was a really nice session because he was sharing us a little bit about his experience thinking with the Helium technology by just thinking with the hardware and how to use the network. And right now we have the other side of the coin. We can say it in that way because right now he have more things to share with us. So we're going to be chatting with two awesome guys who are tremendous contributors to the Helium projects, and we can say almost since the beginning. They both of them, well, not both, but yeah, one for one thing, another for the other one. We're part of the Helium status and also Helium Analytics. They both contribute to those projects, and now they are driving a company named Trackpac, which drive asset tracking solutions under the Helium network. So, Rob, Neil, welcome to the RAKStar stage, and thanks for being here with us.
Hey, happy to be here.
Hey, good to see you.
Nice to see you guys. How everything's going on your side? How was your week so far?
Been a busy week. We got a lot of people that are interested in solutions that they never thought were possible before, and we're always sending out a lot of sensors every week and a lot of interest. So it's good, busy.
Oh, awesome. Well, excited to see the things that you're going to be sharing in a bit with us, either about Trackpac as well about those trackers and the demo that you have prepared for us today. So yeah, before jumping on the session, there are some things that we would like to add as a few reminders for those who are watching us today. So Johan, can you please help me with those?
Yeah, for sure. The first one is don't keep commenting and putting your questions in the comment section because we will collecting them to read it over the show and to address them during the Q&A time. And the second thing, it's you all know that this weekend it's really famous for the discounted prices almost everywhere. So the RAKStar is no exception. So it's starting today until Monday. You will get 10% off on our products, and that discount applies for almost all the RAK products except the RAK 3172, because anyway, the price of this module has always been a good deal. So if this is a perfect weekend to get some interesting hardware stuff for our store.
Yeah, actually, there is a link that Crystal King shared with in his blog post where he shared like a couple of lists of different websites around the world with great deals on hardware stuff. So if you want to get some, just feel free to check it out. So yeah, let's just start with this conversation and getting to know a little bit better about you as well about Trackpac. So can you please just share a brief of yourself, your career background, and how did you get into this Trackpac world?
Sure, I'll go first. So my background is in web design and development. Then moved into programming in general. I sort of over my career become like a full stack engineer that I could, bring up servers or, install services, bring up services, and I run a large web hosting company for a number of years, and that's my background into kind of like software as a service. I exited that a few years back and went into crypto mining. And obviously my eye was drawn to the low power nature of mining with Helium. So I, set up hotspots. But my, curiosity didn't stop there. I, looked at the Mappers projects and things and decided that, there's room for a software as a service to sit on top of Helium, and other people can do the same. So that's why we built Trackpac, to make that journey easier. And that's how I've got here.
Sure, and I'm Rob. I've got a cloud computing background, a bit like Neil. Those go really, really great hand in hand with IoT. It's all good just having your hardware and all that kind of stuff, but actually delivering a solution, you need the full stack. So it kind of comes naturally to us to deliver that. In terms of why am I here with Helium, I guess I've always been a crypto skeptic. I've never really been in it for crypto, and I've always had this kind of personal hobby in IoT. And I think once you see that crypto incentive growing the network, it was unavoidable to come and check it out. And the coverage is amazing. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Actually, Robert, like, you don't mention it over here, but when we were planning this session, in that description that you shared with us, is that you have been tinkering with LoRaWAN technology for a while from now. And initially you started working with the Things Network in the past. So based on this, and like on your experience as well developing this kind of solution, how have you seen the LoRa ecosystem move forward with the release of Helium technology to deploy IoT solutions?
Yeah, so I think a bit more about that history. So my first interaction with LoRaWAN was back in 2015, and we were starting to build out gateways on the Things network, which is obviously a community network. And with the local authority and local university, we started a project to start doing environmental monitoring of our city. And that was great. But with the budgeting and everything, we obviously had to be selective about where we were targeting, how many gateways we could have, and all of that kind of stuff. The really cool thing about Helium is, as it's progressed, the coverage is amazing. And within urban environments, you can get coverage pretty much anywhere.
Completely.
In terms of the LoRaWAN progression, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, but I think we're heading in the right direction. So originally, and I'm talking a few years ago now, Helium had some problems. That's safe to say. I think during the growth factor, everybody is focused on the crypto and the proof of coverage, and IoT lacked maturity. We've seen really, really good progression in that. If we think back to sort of 2019, Helium wasn't really following the LoRaWAN specification from Semtech. Within the console, they're still not following it 100%, but there's been improvements there. Where I'm really excited is the move to having operator ran LNSs, or in the case of somebody like Trackpac, probably running our own LNS. This allows us to converge back to that LoRaWAN standard and allows us to do really, really cool things. So some of the stuff that doesn't work today on Helium, for example, Class C devices, where they're continually listening for a downlink. Mm-hmm. With our own LNS, we're probably looking at Chirp Stack, but obviously others are available. We get those capabilities like Class C, and also things like over-the-air firmware updates and multicasting. So, that is the really exciting piece that's coming up. So I think, we've had a little bit of a rough ride. We've seen improvements, but I think we're at the cusp of seeing a really great LoRaWAN network.
Completely. Thank you so much for sharing that overview. And with a lot of things that you just shared, is like that crucial thing that like allows the people out there, individuals, companies, organizations, to actually build those plug and play solutions on top of the network that we are looking to drive. Because like all this boom, we can call it like that, about Helium, came from crypto people, blockchain people interested to mine just for doing proof of coverage. But right now we can see how the progress of IoT applications are being expanding each day even more in order to use it network, because it's just available right there. We have more than 900,000 hotspots deployed worldwide, covering entire cities with this technology that allows to create solution at a low cost, and also creating devices and deploying devices that are low power consumption, such as the ones that you have been working on, and also the software tools that you develop for the people to make it easier to track their solutions. So it is incredible. And just out of curiosity, how do you meet each other? Like, is this like another success story of tech community collaboration?
100%, yeah. Discord, right?
Yeah, Discord. It goes back in the day where we'd all hop in the IoT chat channel, the voice chat in Helium Discord, and yeah, I think back then there's a clear group of probably about 20 of us that clearly we're here for IoT, and certainly Neil came to me, he's like, hey, how do we go build? We were working on Helium status at the time. It's like, how do we monitor hotspots, right? How do we work out whether it's online, whether the port's forwarded properly and stuff? And we kind of started it as it's kind of a very experimental thing. We didn't really know how we'd work together. We had some difference of opinion and stuff, but we went and built this thing together. We at that point we'd never met. We just kind of got on with it and put our trust in trying to make things better for the community and delivering a service, and it kind of all worked out. And that's, I guess, why we're here today.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the thing was, when we were originally talking and we started working, it was on Helium status. And Helium status was kind of needed because people were just failing on setting ports up and things, and knowing if their ports are wrong, and, just general information about their hotspot that really affected their earnings. So, at the time we wrote a tool and we realized how popular it was. And then like gateways hit. So we were like, what's the next step of that? And I think I convinced Rob quite a bit to move into the sensor world. He had to take a tracker out into the wild to see that it was actually worth doing, and that kind of process has only really been this year. If we'd have done this a year ago, it wasn't ready. The network wasn't mature enough. There wasn't that redundancy. So, having that Helium status experience meant that we kind of went, right, let's take the next challenge,
I'll tell you a story about Neil, actually. Neil was really, really inspired. I don't know if anybody remembers that Helium video with the lady who lost her dog, and they used Helium to track the dog. It was back in 2019 or something, they released that video. And Neil, to be honest, ever since we met, has been hassling me like, hey, when can I track my dog, right? And back when we were doing Helium status, like, hey, the network's not mature enough yet. We don't have enough coverage. And then you were literally begging me, like, every time like a group of hotspots were deployed, hey, go and evaluate the network, see if it's ready for tracking yet. And we kind of got to that critical mass where I was like, actually, this thing works. Let's do it. And I think it's safe to say, like, Helium promised tracking your dog in 2019, and in 2022, Trackpac made it happen. So
completely. And also, like, you are actually also developing a specific sensor to drive that kind of tiny trackers that can be applied into mascots such as dogs, right? That we're going to get into details, but it is nice how you just see the advertisement of a girl like with a dog looking its owners, and right now you are making it possible next to track it. So it's nice to see like how just a voice chat over Discord, around 20 people get connected to each other. And right now you are here together in the name of Trackpac in order to drive a business together for the people out there who are looking to track valuable assets, like are not just pets, are also cars,
exactly,
are
everything.
any kind of boxes, like any kind of asset that they would like to track. And this is a solution that can be addressed in any of the industries out there, either retail, either agriculture, either smart homes, either smart cities. Like there are many things out there that where that these solutions can be applied. So it is like pretty nice to look in the back and see like the whole opportunities that the Helium ecosystem have brought to individuals worldwide. And a while back, as I said in the beginning, Neil was on this show sharing this experience using the Helium network along with the WISblog for that time, and some open source software tools to monitor sensor data. If I'm not wrong, it was Grafana for that time.
Yep.
And now here, Neil, along with Robert and their team, are able to drive a business model with some software tools that enable individuals and organizations, as I mentioned it before, to asset track it, to track assets, at a low cost and of course efficiently. So how were those beginnings of Trackpac? Like, why did you decide to move into the asset tracking industry instead of the other ones that are available out there?
I mean, generally, my point of view on the Helium network has always been that, I've been a moderator, and like Rob says, we were spending every night in voice chat talking with people about what they could use this network for, how best to set their hotspots up. And there was just kind of a big gap in the market of, going out and buying a sensor and actually getting it used on the Helium network. I mean, a lot of people think that Helium needs to kind of build all these killer apps, but it's not that case. They're like the Amazon web services. They provide the network layer, we build the apps on top. So there wasn't really anyone chasing, an easy way to add a tracker. I enjoyed mappers so much right at the start. It was one of the best things I could do to learn about how these hotspots were working. Build a mapper, take it out, see how it's used. But then, I started noticing that this thing was so accurate. It was tracking me absolutely everywhere perfectly, that I thought, this is the thing. This is the first one to kind of get a sensor into people's hands and realize that this network they built is so amazing that you can walk 50 miles away from certain hotspots and still get coverage. It kind of opens up the opportunity to say, the existing technology just isn't possible, with SIM cards and things like that. The power consumption is so high that you just can't put it on things like, long-term assets that take a long time. But with the LoRaWAN technology, if we can get these things cheap enough, you could be putting them on absolutely everything, and the network's there to support it. And that's what we felt like. We can make that killer app that really helps people learn about the network, but at the same time develop solutions that make it super usable for businesses. So it's a twofold attack. Like, we've got an app on a phone that the end user can go and track their dog or track their bags or their camera equipment. But at the same time, we've built a system up that it enables an API, a web interface, and everything, so that businesses can integrate it into their existing systems and add it to their library of tools that they can use to drive down costs and improve inefficiencies. Sorry.
It's fine completely. It's incredible to see like how like you see that need on your side, based on just putting yourself in the shoes of more people out there who were in your same position, and just driving a solution that can help us to make kind of smooth process for them to actual just add some trackers into it, and then just getting started in a more friendly way and having a really great user experience in top of that. Actually, there is a question over here, and I'm not sure if this is compatible, but I would like to jump in top of this question now that you just mentioned it. This guy, Mechatronica Mead, he's mentioned that he have to rack 2171, which are the track kits, the latest ready to use trackers that Rack Wireless released not in the last, on the previous one, launch event. If possible to get started with this tracker in the Trackpac application.
Yep, that's the great thing about our system, is that we will work with any LoRaWAN tracker out there on the market. It's just defining the payload for us, which we've already done. I've got a pair of the Trackit trackers myself, so we can add them in. Just get in touch with us, basically.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And also, before jumping to the other question that we have prepared here, We have something from Grisel King. Tell us about Brompton. What is that?
Sure. So we've been working with Brompton for a number of months now. Brompton are a London folding bike company. They make these great commuter bikes that fold up and you can put on the train. So it's kind of like, from your house to the train station, you would ride it. From the train station to your workplace, short commuter journeys with inside central London. We've started with a trial with some basic trackers. But we're moving to a world where they want this on every bike that they supply. So they've got units all across London, these lockers where anyone with a subscription can go use a Brompton bike. They're actually expanding it so it uses other bikes as well. But anyone can pay a subscription and go and use these bikes. What they're really interested in is not actually whether or not the bike is lost or stolen, but the usage of the bike over the day. Where would it be a good idea for them to put the next locker? Is someone taking a bike from really far away every day to an area where another locker could be installed in? But on top of that, the councils are really interested in how much cycling happens in their boroughs. So having this tracker that's so cheap for them has just been a godsend. We collided with their business at the right time. They've been trying to deploy a solution like this for 5 years. But the solution was always too expensive, not enough power, or the upfront costs were just too high for them to be able to do this. And LoRaWAN really enables that for us. So we've developed a tracker that we're working with RAK to produce, and we're going to be selling a bike tracking kit, basically.
Well, I was to jump, but Rob unmute his mic.
Yeah, sorry,
I was like, I don't interrupt him. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think one of the interesting things that's happened with Brompton and also some of the other businesses that we've worked with is when we entered into this, maybe naively, we kind of thought, hey, asset tracking is all about stopping theft and things like that. The use cases that we've come across for our trackers are so diverse, and the business requirements are so amazing. I think that's one of the biggest kind of takeaways that we've had from working with these guys is, it's all about not necessarily theft, but business intelligence. How can we make smart decisions based on the data? And I think, some of our other customers have kind of reflected that same kind of message. So I think it's really, really interesting how it's kind of pivoting. And we have a platform that we've built that makes it easy to pivot and add different use cases. So it's kind of a real smart solution in that respect.
Completely. And also there is one thing that someone left on the comments, hack and this and that. And asset tracking is about utilization. And yeah, it's just that is why it can be applied to the different industries that we have out there for different purposes. So it's pretty nice how you put all these things together to make a smooth process for these organizations to have all this valuable information in order to take smart decisions that helps them to save resources in different ways. So now that you have been talking a little bit about the beginnings, this Brompton opportunity that you have, some of the needs and some of the needs that they have and how you are solving it. But I would like to jump into the products itself and the services that you offer within your application and all those features that the user can expect from your services. So Johan, can you please help me with these ones?
Yeah, for sure. For example, if today someone wants to use Trackpac services for individuals and organizations, which features they can expect and which problems may be solved by using your services?
Sure, I'll grab that one. So generally, we started developing Trackpac at the start of the year, and what we built is what we think is a minimum lovable product. So it's products with features that will keep you coming back and keep you interested in using the service. So for us, that was basic things like geofencing. So you can set up geofences in an area to know if an item's left the site, also return to site. And then on top of that, we built, the new features recently, like timeline viewers that allow you to study that data. So you can look at your business intelligence and say, you know, did that van actually go to site today? Did it deliver its bill of goods, and then did it return at night, and was it used out of hours? But it also allows you to paint a picture of usage. What we've also developed is this is all on top of a full spec API, so people can use our endpoints for this to view the data. But if they want to produce reports about specific things, they can fully tie into our API and develop that, and we can help with that as well. But it's been designed in a way that you know, if they wanted to get started with us and there's a particular need that they need to have, so maybe they want to track temperature at the same time, we can add that in as a microservice very, very quickly and enable that particular use case for them. One of the things that we are working on recently and just basically about to release is assets. So the idea is that you can create a public link for an asset to send to the end users to enable that Uber, Deliveroo kind of style deliveries to your home. So if you're sending an important watch or maybe a bit of art or, you know, something that's being delivered to the home, they could pay for a small tracker, send that public link to the user, and they never see our system. They would just get public links. So that's the kind of service that we're at now, that we're adding new features all the time, but you get the basics of assets tracking, a full API to access, and alerts via push notifications. So
it's incredible. It's incredible. And at the end, as we were just saying, like, asset tracking is about utilization, and that utilization and application on the different industries are going to provide you both feedback about your services in order to keep adding features that can meet the needs of the different industries that these solutions can be applied. And yeah, that is one thing that are good about like technology products, or I can talk about like the name of RAK, that since the beginning and the growth that RAK has been having as a company is all about hearing the community that we have. Like, hey, we just start with a gateway and an open source gateway, and then we just like industrialize them to different options. We have the developer, we have the edge, but then the people wanted the communication models. Then they wanted to plug and play sensors. Then they want a development tool that allows you to bring ideas and move forward from an idea in just a short period of time. Then we have the WizBlog, and we keep hearing them in order to add more and more like products into our ecosystem. And from your side, we'll be adding these incredible features to make it smoother and to meet the need for the different industries. So it's pretty nice. So can you share like some user experience that is expected from your services, perhaps a demo that you can show us over the session, a live demo, if you pry the live demo gods?
Sure. So I can show a little bit about the system. This already.
Great, perfect. Let me just add it to the screen. Here we have it. And there you have it. Okay.
So recently at Solana Breakpoint 2022, we with help from RAK, deployed trackers on the transport vehicles. And over the period of time of about a day, I've got some data here to show you just how far some of these sensors are reaching and how many hotspots there are. So normally in a business use case, you would only want one hotspot, right? There's no point paying for extra. But here we really wanted to showcase the usage. So we've got all packets on, and you could just see from the data just how far these things are going. I mean, it's one thing we've been hearing quite a bit is, you know, Helium is not a serious network. There's no SLAs. But what this data shows right here is we don't need an SLA. We have redundancy, and we have redundancy in a scale that's just not heard of before. You know, no one would plan this area with this many hotspots, but, you know, the redundancy that we have has just meant that the network's fantastic. And it's not just isolated. I mean, generally, we've got a web player here. So, you know, you can replay your day's worth of data, and you can just see every time different hotspots are checking in, some from, you know, 20 miles away. Which is just unbelievable. Incredible. So basically, this is our system. We've got a timeline player that's quite new that shows you the hotspots. As default, it doesn't show this. I've got what's known on our system as Helium Enthusiast mode on, which basically means is if you're interested in the data, you can see these hotspots marked and what kind of signal strength they're getting and view more information about them. That's more about the kind of educational piece about Helium that we're trying to do at the same time as building a business. It's just amazing. Every time that we've shown someone this timeline player, they've gone, wow, there's all these hotspots here, but I'm still connecting to this one all the way out here. And that's kind of like the wow factor of the network, that you realize that there's just so much coverage and it's so good. You don't need that SLA of data. But there's some other things as well, like geofences. You get a full history about what the location was, and you can also set battery alerts for a device. So you can watch any asset in a day traveling around, and then at the same time replay that data, and more importantly export the data. So if you need to, there's a problem that you need to use a history for, you can do that and take it to other systems basically. So that's a basic demo. This is all available on a web app as well, so on a phone app as well, sorry. So
Okay.
if you're tracking a few trackers in your house, maybe you've got one in the car, one on the bike, one on the dog, the phone app's great. But when you want to really explore that data, it's so much nicer on the desktop. Or if you're managing a lot of assets, it's much nicer on the desktop. So this is kind of what we see as the business experience. But the end consumer experience is definitely the app. I love the app in the sense that there's some fun times that I've had, like there's a geofence on my house. So every time I arrive home, the wife opens the front door for me. It's brilliant. It's just so nice that someone is, and she's out late at night or walking the dog, I know where she is. Not in a scary way, but just to make sure she's safe and nothing's happened to her, that peace of mind is great. It's just amazing, and I would get an instant alert if my car moved, if my laptop bag moved. I collect guitars as well, and there's one in every guitar bag I have. So if someone were to try and steal that, I would know instantly that it's even moved, a couple of meters. And yeah, just the data on the Helium network is fantastic. I mean, these check-ins were every couple of minutes, but you can just see the scale of how far they go. And this is inside of a car, this is inside of a metal box.
Where you say like inside of the metal box is those green lines that we can see on the map, right?
Yeah, so I'm saying every hotspot here is one that checked in when that car did an uplink every couple of minutes. So just to see how far they go with the tiniest little of antennas. These aren't gigantic antennas like hotspots. They are plastic molded boxes with an antenna inside. And to see it do that well from inside a car just really opens up what you think you can do with it. These should be on everything, really. We talk to people that want to put them on caravans. We talk to people that want to track skips. We talk to people that want to track dogs. Cigar boxes. I mean, anything can be tracked on this network with an accuracy that's just fantastic, and a redundancy that means that you're always going to get a signal through.
Completely. And I was like checking in detail the map, and that is why I asked about these green lines in the middle of in the center where you're starting. If you zoom in, there are like a few green lights. Lines, sorry, that are like a light green. Those are like a feature, like I don't know, like the historical tracking data that you're getting from an asset or something like that. Just curious about it, because it's different. The color is different from the other lines on the map.
Yeah, so we plot the history in what's called a polyline,
Awesome.
and basically this is the route it's taken, and what the timeline viewer allows you to do is follow that path. But what it allows you to see is maybe that you've got an area, and you can see that they traveled this way, and you might question yourself, why do you travel that way every day when you could travel this way in say 5 minutes? That's the kind of basics of it, that you can draw these lines and see the full path of where they've done. And see how long they spent in an area as well. So you get the time that the packet arrived, and how far it took to get to the next one, and whereabouts they were on the map at that time.
Completely. And if I see, for example, there's a cool thing that, as you mentioned, like it is available either on desktop over a website, or it can be used over a mobile app And of course, you can use it based on the number of devices that you are tracking. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
make sense to go to a desktop version if I am tracking my dog, for example, and I just have
exactly.
one or three trackers. But if I have a fleet of devices out there, like hundred of devices being deployed, the idea is that I can have a better manage and control and a better
Exactly.
overview. So it's good to go with a desktop version. But when I see in this like a specific view that you're sharing right here, it's not like super similar, but it reminds me to the Mapper project, right? Which is like we have a different the different boxes where we see all the hotspots that are being deployed out there, and the green boxes are the tracking points that the mapper are getting. But here you are adding more valuable to that. It's not just about checking the hotspot that they are being connected with. It's also being able to create these geofences to create some interactions and automation based off if I enter these geofences, what I should do or what I should report. And also like generating different kind of alerts based on also that geofences or also based on a specific location as well. So it's pretty nice to see it. And the app is available either for Android and iPhone, iOS.
Yep, it's available for both platforms as well. So
Great, great. So, like, if someone want to start with it, like, what they have to do, like, they can go to your website, reach out to you. There is a login process. How that works?
I think.
Yep, so
Sorry, Neil. I think the unique thing about Trackpac is we're like the first user-friendly way to get a sensor on Helium. So basically, to get started, you can go to our website. We have a bunch of different distributors geographically located everywhere. And all you need to do is buy a Trackpac enabled tracker from one of the distributors. We sell Browan tabs and digital matter Oyster 3s at the moment. As we said, we're also developing a new tracker in conjunction with RAK. So hopefully that will be available soon. The fundamental principle of onboarding a tracker is we don't want you to have to be a computer science degree holder. We don't want you to have to be putting JavaScript into the console, anything like that. You get the tracker. Depending on which tracker you've got, you can either scan the QR code that's stuck to the tracker itself, or there will be a Trackpac leaflet in the box with a QR code for you to scan, and that's it. You go, you buy the tracker, you open the app, you scan the QR code, you're tracking.
Completely. As I said at the beginning, like having that plug and play experience that the people that are not technical like are getting frustrated when trying to start with a Helium network because they just like jump into it. They start seeing some code, some hexagon data, then they have to decode that. There are some numbers that people don't understand in an easy way. And basically you are just like building all these tools to reaching out like those in customers in order to apply solutions that basically help them to solve the problems and help them to save the resources that you're needed as the use cases that you just mentioned. So like these cases can be applied for many in different I just get a mix with the screen sharing. The solution, as we have been mentioning through all over the call, can be applying for different use cases, right? So you mentioned the bike project that you have, but which are the ones that you have been already implemented so far, and which are the projects that you are planning to address in the upcoming months?
Sure. So far, we've the focus has been more of the educational piece, whilst we do a bit of proving ourselves. Really, I suppose is the word for it. We've got long-term deals with customers like Brompton, the bikes that will lead to a large number of trackers, but really there's been some hurdles along the way of hardware, basically. That's why we've come to RAK to work on those solutions. We have a number of big customers in the works that want different shaped trackers for different jobs. And that's a lot about what we've learned. I think we both naively thought that there was good hardware on the market. We could, use these solutions and have the long-term battery life that we wanted. But we've realized over time that we need to make something. We never set out to write software. Originally, we just wanted to see the Helium network be used and use it ourselves. We then had to write software. We then tried to work with hardware vendors to use their hardware, but we've just noticed that it's not been what we need for these solutions. I'm a big believer in saying that I don't think a lot of traditional LoRaWAN will move over to Helium. I believe that it's new industries that are going to make the most difference here. So going from a spec of hardware that's designed for the private world, private business to business, where they're putting in the gateways, they're putting in the sensors, they can charge more for it. We need the lower cost stuff to make this spread and be used. And that's a big focus of what we've learned along the way. But the kind of things that we're being asked to track, I can say a few things, bikes, pets. The other one is we've been asked to track a GPS tracker, but it's a very industrial one, and they keep getting stolen. So if we could put a small tracker in there, we will actually save them money in the long haul. One of the fun ones is, onion farmers, their crates. They basically losing about £300,000 a year in crates. So if they can track the crates, and this thing can just tell them where it is once a day, and be so cheap that that it's on a coin cell battery, we can make a whole new industry be tracked and more smart. So that's a lot of what we've been doing so far. But yeah, mostly so far it's been sales. 20 here to track vehicles for example, we've done a video for Bailey and Jones. They were a building contractor in London, and basically previous to us, they would track who was on what site on a whiteboard. So they would say, John is at X site today, and they'd have it on a whiteboard. With us, they can just look at it digitally and see if they actually made it on site. More importantly, they can make sure that that person arrived to site, what time they arrived to site, if the bill of materials was delivered, and it's time for them to, put the purchase order through to actually claim for the money because it's actually been delivered. It's taken them really into the future, into the 21st century. So
it is pretty incredible to see like the different use cases that are being right there in top of the table, all of these opportunities. And guys, like, congratulations for all of this. It's pretty nice to see how Neil was asking in the past about how to build a mapper, and right now here next to your team, you are like driving these final end user applications. And as Rob just shared, like in a plug and play experience, we have having to deal with those technical things that the people used to have to deal with if they wanted to build a tracker. Of course, the target is different because you are not developing these for let's say developers directly, and maybe there are some that want to use you because they want to save money and they want to save some developing time as well. But you are bringing all of these to drive different kind of possibilities for individuals as well as for organizations. So it's pretty nice to see all of this.
Yeah, and we really just want to support network usage. If you've got a use case, you need an extra sensor, you've built a great WizBlock kit, and you want to start selling a product with that, and you want a quick way to market, that's what we can enable for you with this kind of platform. We can save you the headache of having to go and write a whole system, and just really use the network, get that use case in place. And that's what we're trying to do and help with. A big part of what we're doing is sharing what we're doing with people, so they understand that the opportunity here is massive for the Helium network. There are very few companies targeting and doing it like we're doing it, but there are so many sensors that I can reel off a list, off the top of my head. There's so many industries can start up. It's a great time to do it. You could be first to market in a lot of these cases, and the market's screaming out for it. We spend a lot of time phoning up rental companies, Every rental company we phoned up has booked a call in with us to talk about it more, about how they can utilize this technology. A lot of people aren't aware of it, and once they realize that they can do it with this and how low cost they can do it, they're blown away. And the next stage for us has always been that stage, get a tracker in their hand. And once they experience it, they realize, wow, I can do so much with this. And the more people doing that, the better for everyone, right?
Completely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of the things that I shared at Helium in the Wild when we were in London with Neil was a slide, and it's very interesting that the IoT sector is estimated to be $1 trillion by 2030, and 20% of that is low-powered wide area networks like LoRaWAN, and there's so much untapped potential there when you look at the market size today, which is about a third of that. I think it's clear to get out there, start building stuff on Helium, start marketing it, and getting people using it, because there's so much market that is untapped right now. And certainly, if you have something that requires location data, then come talk to us, because we already have a location platform, we already have an identity platform, and we have geofencing. So the way we've architected uses microservices. So if you need to add in additional data, or you need an integration with another system, it's really, really easy for us to add on pretty much anything you want, whether it's water quality, air quality, whatever it is. If it's to be combined with location data, we can help.
Completely. Like, the invitation here is that, like, we have an open and decentralized network right there that is being powered with more than 900,000 hotspots being deployed, which we have coverage in entire cities. And we have an ecosystem right there with a bunch of industries that need to target different kind of sensors. Like, for your case, it was asset tracking. So yeah, anyone out there, if you need some asset tracking solution, these are the guys. But if there are many other opportunities, like environmental solutions, like smart home solutions, smart cities. Like, there are many use cases that you can be applied out there. And right now you have a network available where you can just quickly get started with it, just with a LoRa device, and yeah, start building like your devices, and a good base to get started with it. For example, it is, for example, our WizBlock ecosystem, which is an open source hardware development kit that helps you to develop any kind of solution, because we have a model of an ecosystem model of more than 100 module sensors already available. And if for some reason, and some of the sensors that we have available in our ecosystem, it is not meeting the needs of your solution, it is a full and open source product. So you can go to our documentation, download the templates, build your own model, and as Trackpac is currently doing with us, in order to collaborate and build a dedicated tracker, you can also build that custom model next to us. So yeah, invitation in here, it's just like, be aware about the Helium network and get a start into it, and get started by developing solutions, because this is the time and this is the opportunity to start deploying solution under LP1 technologies that allows you to save money in terms of implementation, and also allows you to build a solution, devices that work efficiently in terms of long range communication, and also in terms of battery efficiency. So it's pretty awesome. So thanks for adding.
I mean, that's literally where I started. I had no experience with IoT devices before. I was the opposite of Rob. I came from the blockchain. I was here for money. I was here for earnings. But when I was interested in those earnings, I learned the best way is to test with these sensors. I took the RAK WizBlock kit, the dev kit for Helium, and I built my first mapper, you know. And then I started gathering information about my setups, and I improved them and improved my earnings. And then I saw a real business with them, and that's all come from the Rack WizBlock kit, basically. You know, just being able to plug and play, click a couple of sensors together, look at a great GitHub repository of example code, the APIs that you can use to do it, the community support that you get as well. You know, if you want to build something and get started on the Helium network, come over to the WizBlock channels on the RAKStars channel, or Discord, and it's great. The community's there to support you doing this. You know, you don't have to start expensive by building your own PCBs. You've got a great project kit right there that you can build any type of sensor with very cheaply and very easily. And then, you know, like I started with, you can pull up Grafana and InfluxDB and Node-RED, and in a drag and drop way, learn how to build the platform. And that's your proof of concept. That's enough to get the idea out there and see if there's a business for it, you know, before you spend too much money or too much time developing. And Rack's there to support you the whole time, you know, like you're helping us now with a new tracker. You can produce these kits and use them in a big scale, right? It's been great.
Completely. Thank you for sharing that experience with our RAKStars, because
Sure.
yeah, it is like that proof of why we build what we have been building for the past years. Like, one of the things that makes me join the Rack team was the WizBlock ecosystem, because I put myself in the shoes of any developer. It was like, man, I was needing this like 6 months ago when I was trying to develop a project for like an energy monitoring solution. And I spent months just in the first stage of getting the sensors, connecting with a main board, then the communication model, then building the first PCB. And yeah, like, things can happen along the way, and we change like the way of developing hardware in like jumping from a waterfall methodology, we can say it like that, because you can jump back into the stages, but with an agile development methodology for hardware, you can just interchange the sensors on the go and add technology if something didn't work when you was testing something out. So it's nice to see that, and also to see the experience that you have so far with our ecosystem and how it helps you to get started into these trackers, and also helps you to build all the things that you have built so far.
I think what's amazing to add to Rack as well is the kit form from Rack, where you can plug and play, and it's very easy to prototype things, has a really good upgrade path to an actual product. That same chip that is on the WizBlock can end up on your own PCB eventually, and that is one of the things that we struggled with every other vendor. We were looking for two things. One was the form factor, so we could get a small size, and the other was, how do we get from a prototyping board to a production board without having to do loads of crazy iterative steps? And the 3172 from Rack, ticked all of those boxes. It's a super awesome platform.
Incredible. And this jump into the collaboration that we have right now about these custom trackers that you are building right now.
Yes, exciting times. You know, we've basically, like we said, you know, we started with existing tech, and now we're getting asked to do specific utilizations for specific companies. So each one has a unique requirement on size, cases, battery life, how often it checks in. And Rack's enabled us to be able to, you know, go to market with a number of devices all under one package. You know, we create the great baseboard, a single tracker itself, as small as we can, and then we could utilize existing cases from manufacturers and fill it for the battery. A lot of these trackers at the moment are very wasteful in their size. So even if we came to market with something that was a similar size, we would have twice the battery life, because we were able to prototype so quickly down into a small board, you know, and that's all come from the Rack ecosystem.
It's pretty incredible. And what have been the like those challenges that you encounter during this development process, and how you overcome these challenges by using like these development tools and then jump into a specific model. If I'm not wrong, your solution is being based on the 3172 model. And yeah, what is the status of it? How everything's going? When are you planning to launch it? Yeah, can you share like those details with us?
Sure. The status so far is we're on our 4th revision of board design. The 3172 was pivotal because of its small size, but also it's enabled us to accelerate the development process because we haven't had to worry ourselves with things like the RF elements of PCB design because it's all on one module, including an IPEX connector, which is, it's an accelerator for us, both in terms of design complexity, but also the certification complexity as well. So we're currently on the 4th revision of our board. We've been working with the RAK engineering team, who have given us awesome feedback and guidance for making sure that we can get it certified. We're currently proposing a revision 5, which kind of hopefully will be the design that we send for certification. And firmware is way under development. We have working firmware today. We're tweaking the low power elements of it to try and squeeze as much battery life as we can. So yeah, I think hopefully firmware wise, we're going to be kind of wrapping that up with a good stable build of firmware by mid-December, and then entering into the certification process on the revision 5 board with RAK. And I'm not quite sure what the timelines are looking like that for that. I think Neil's got some ambitious targets for getting it out the door, but yeah, I'll let him speak. So I don't want to commit to anything.
Yeah, we're not firm down on dates for devices, but the first couple of batches that we're doing for specific use cases for specific customers. A big thing here, like I said earlier, is that we designed this small board to be able to get away with as much little space as we can, get these things in there, and that has different battery requirements for each type of tracker, right? So the bikes that we're working with Brompton have a much different requirement to tracking a caravan, for instance, and then we've got another one that requires another usage. So we'll have a general purpose tracker, but it's not our first focus. Our first focus is to get customers on the network and show that use case. So in terms of a general tracker, that will take longer. We're just kind of proving that this tech can work at this size and how good it is first before we go into like a general release.
I think some of the big takeaways that we've got is that there's nothing particularly wrong with the more generic trackers today. They work, they do their job. So some of the things that we've observed is we don't believe a tracker should be $100. It's to get to the mass market. We want it to be sub $50. And that's for now. Hopefully, with scale, we can bring that lower. The other thing is the generic trackers are great until you start talking to specific customers and they got specific requirements of, we want to fit it in this little tight space, or actually we've got quite a lot of room, but it's an odd shape. And then that's where the current generic models start to fall apart, and that's why we're producing hardware. So it is one about making an adaptable platform that we can design into a different form factor and recertify for given use cases. But also, there's no way that we can grow that to the size we want to grow without bringing that cost down. The current off-the-shelf price is crazy.
Yeah, and some people are excited to get that kind of trackers, that chip trackers on hands. That's the reason why we have a comment on the YouTube chat. They're asking about if you have a target date for that tracker. You already talk about the current status and how all the progress is going, but do you have a target status, target date right now?
not confirmed. It's really one of those ones for us that we need it as soon as possible. The RAK team have been fantastic talking through the requirements, but we're really led by RAK about certification timelines and manufacturing timelines that we wouldn't want to say anything quite yet. But if I had my way next month, come on, but it's just not going to happen that quickly. So it's hard to say when.
Let's just keep the word that not many people like, soon.
Soon, yeah.
Available soon. And what is like excites me the most is like the vision that you have about this product. Like having a generic tracker, that costs $100. It doesn't make sense if you want to go to scale. And if you're targeting a $50 price for the trackers, and if you can then go lower of that, if going scale, that will be awesome, and will open the opportunities, will open many doors for many people out there worldwide who are looking to tracker their valuable assets. And of course they can make it by being part of Trackpac journey, by supporting them, by getting into the platform, by acquiring this tracker as soon as they got releases. Of course, we are going to let you know all as soon as this tracker get released, because we are pretty excited about this collaboration, and to see how a community project that around some mappers building based on the WISblog, based on our ecosystem, and how to get it started into this IoT world and not just earning money, end up in a company that is right now helping individuals and businesses to drive the tracking of their valuable assets. So it's pretty awesome to see all the things that you are making, guys. And also, like, thank you so much for sharing all of this. And like, we are already like jumping out into the end of the session, because we already passed the 1 hour limit that we have for this. And yeah, I know that we can stay here for 1 hour more, and keep talking more and more, because this happen all the times in top of these sessions. But but I would like to ask you, based on your experience, like, what advice would you give to those individuals and companies looking to explore Helium as a core technology for their IoT solutions?
We'll let Neil go first, and I'll add to it.
I guess it would be just to try the network. There's a lot of crypto people around that don't realize just how good this network is, and believe that everything is based on price. So just ignore that totally. Go use this network, go use it for what you want to do in the wild, and then you realize that you just don't have to worry about connectivity. That this connectivity is everywhere, and you can use it for such a low price that a device will cost you less than $1 a year in some cases. To be able to do any project you want and not have to worry about gateways is just fantastic, right? So get involved, talk to us, come. We're in the RAK rooms, we've got our own Discord, we're on the Helium Discord, we're around, we'll help you do that. We want to see this network grow, and I want to see usages on it. Big thing for me was I wanted to track my dog, and now I've made an app that can do it, so other people can too.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Okay, that was in general about people trying to implement own solutions based on Helium. However, we always tend to ask a question to our guest about if you have a message to share with our community of makers, engineers, and entrepreneurs, what would be?
This is an obvious one. It's go out there, talk to people, work out where there's a market for Helium, and start building, because that's the next step in the evolution of the network.
Completely. Thanks for those words, Neil and Rob. I really enjoyed like finding out a little bit more either about you, about the things that you are building, how to see like how working as a community contributors helps you to build what Trackpad is today. Once again, congrats for the awesome success that you're having so far, and also many thanks for taking the time today to share all of these details with us and also prepare the demo that you share. So yeah, if anyone's out there want to explore in more details about what Trackpacks brings to the table, please don't hesitate to reach out Neil and Robert through their website, and you can find it in top of here, trackpack.io, directly on the website, and you can find the contact site to get more information about it. So yeah, I think that will be all to wrap up with our session, guys.
Thanks again for having me. Maybe we should do another one in 6 months to see how far we've grown.
Progress completely.
Yeah,
So-
I'll come back and show off the rack and Trackpac
Yeah.
tracker.
Yeah.
Great.
Completely agree on that. I will be pinging you both in 6 months as soon as we have 100 of these trackers already deployed around Europe, as well as other countries out there in America, hopefully. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, once again. And if you guys, all of those who join us today, we have here like some comments that I would like to show before leaving. Good to see you all here. Then we have a heads up from Zach, and also thank you all. See you next time, RAKStars. So yeah, if you enjoy this kind of community session, please leave some love on this video by liking it and subscribe it to the Rag Wireless channel in case you are not already subscribed. And also feel free to share this session with anyone who might find Trackpac interesting to deploy their next asset tracking solution.
There are still more things to come, and maybe we could have the pleasure to have any of our viewers as a guest for one of the following sessions. We're always looking forward to seeing what you are building. So let's keep it up.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, Neil was one of our viewer, and then he become one of our guests. So yeah, this is like the perfect example. Okay, that's all. Thank you everyone out there for joining us. We do hope to see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your day, and as always, happy hacking, folks. See you later on.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.